You ever get that feeling where you feel like you ain't really where you wanna be in life? Like everything is crashing down all around without a reason why. Look, but praying I need a sign, but smoking it increase my peace of mind.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Normalize podcast. My name is ChrisNeeComedy, comedian, author, most importantly, mental health advocate. We are here live at the Civic Theatre in Allentown. I brought my comedy to Break the Stigma Show here tonight, and we have hometown royalty. My special guest tonight, Mr. Tyler Rothrock. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah? I've never been introduced as, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like a Rothschild now, you know?
That's perfect. Yeah. That's great. So you have never performed in the Civic Theatre?
No,
but you are from this area?
I've performed at a bar, like right around the corner. So
yeah.
I've parked in front of it just with the wish.
Just in case.
Like I wish that was the venue I was going into. But, you know, I would go to the bar. So this has always been like a place, like a bucket list type thing. So I'm very excited.
We're creating bucket lists here tonight. I've been there, too, with all those horrible bar shows. So it's nice every once in a while that we can come and perform in these awesome theaters.
Exactly.
But I wanted to get right into it. So Civic Theatre here tonight, your hometown. There's going to be over 300 people here. Are you nervous at all?
No, not about. You know, a little bit. You're always a little like.
I feel like if you don't have that nervousness, you don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I want to. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I have a better, like, show when I'm a little nervous, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you just, especially if we're raising money for something pretty important, so that kicks up the nerves a little bit. You want to make sure everybody has a good time. And, you know, kudos to you. You're the one raising the money, so we just want to make the show good so that people have fun. And they feel like they're, you know, the fundraiser is, you know, done well.
Absolutely. Well, that'll bring us to our first segment because I think this is the perfect way to go. This is the mental health check-in. Has anything stressed you out this week so far that has caused any anxiety? Me personally, obviously the show. Yes, I perform in the show, but I also produce the show. I book all the comedians. I have to go on all these Zoom meetings with the different organizations. So I'm doing a million different things.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people just have to focus on the show, which is great. That's a luxury. But there's a little pressure on me to do that, especially when you're doing theaters, because it would look stupid if you had a 400-person theater and
nobody.
10 people.
Yeah. So, been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
That definitely has got me a little anxious, but now I'm excited because it's showtime and I'm just ready to rock at this point and have some fun.
It's like if you build it, it's built. Yeah. They will come now. Now we're ready to go. It's the fun time. Yeah. But yeah, I have anxiety all the time. Like I think I'm a person that like I ruminate and I maybe cause things in my head that maybe aren't exactly. Like I go to the worst case scenario with
every single time.
A lot of shit, you know? And I don't know if you've ever done this where you like imagine something happening and you can see it so vividly as this terrible thing happening. Yeah. And then the opposite happens. And you're like, why did I spend so much time worrying about it? Yeah. It's the stuff you can't control. That's the stuff that I usually have the hardest time.
100%. I have generalized anxiety and panic disorder. It started when I was a teenager, and 99% of that is I always worried about the future, and 99% of the stuff that I worried about, literally I didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
It's just like, what am I going to be doing in 30 years?
Yeah. Dude,
who knows? But I needed to know.
I know, exactly. You know? Like, I feel like when things are going, I see a therapist, you know, recently, which is great. But, so she helps me a lot. But if things are going, before I talked to her, I didn't know how to handle this. When things are going fine or good, I'll find something to, like, I'll like worry about like my mortality. Like what happens after I can't tell you how often I'm like sitting somewhere having a great time, and then out of nowhere I'll just get this rush of panic, like it's cut to black and it's over and then for the rest of eternity, and I just have this like crisis in my head about it. Like probably, I mean, certainly at an unhealthy rate.
Oh, 100%. You self-terrorize yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it just brings a full-out panic attack, and then after you did it, you're just like,
dude, if self is that the term, Okay, because if self-terrorizing was a marketable skill,
you would be the.
I would be rich. I would be a millionaire.
You'd be the Uncle Sam.
I'd be I'd be the Michael Jordan of self.
Mortality on a daily basis. That would be you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. But moving on to a couple different things here. When did I like to get to know comics on a little bit more of a personal level? When did you get into comedy, and what made you want to do comedy? Because everybody that I literally talk to, I always are like, yeah, probably 96% of comedians have mental health issues. We can't do this or be out in public, but we literally can stand in front of a stage and try to make random people laugh for no reason whatsoever. So what was kind of like you're interested in? When were you like, oh, I'm actually going to do this?
I've always been interested in stand-up. And when I think I was around 21, I saw, what I'll tell people, the quick answer was inside the actor studio with Dave Chappelle. I saw that. He had his dad, my dad passed away when I was around 21.
Oh, geez, okay.
So, and that was right around the time I saw the inside the actor studio, and Chappelle has a story about when his dad passed away, and getting into comedy. And he was like, you know, it's hard to make it in comedy. He was having a conversation with his dad, like, it's hard to make it in comedy, not everybody makes it. And Chappelle said, well, if you're a teacher, if I can make a teacher's salary doing comedy, that's making it. And that clicked it in my head, like, oh, you don't have to be a superstar. You could just make a living at this. And so I tried, but the secondary part of this, around that same time I had a lot of deaths, and I was going to therapy, and my therapist at the time, great guy, he said, you know, I was also going through a breakup. Okay. And that was like the breakup was the worst part. Yeah, like I was having a hard time with the breakups and the losing people, which I was like confused about. And he was like, you lack some self-confidence, you build some self-confidence. And I was like, I always wanted to try stand-up. And he was like, well, why don't you go try stand-up? So technically, a therapist told me to do stand-up.
That is so ironic.
I think that's malpractice.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's great. So when was the first time you actually picked up a mic though? So did you just go to a local bar or Google? Because when I started, I did my first open mic when I was 17 years old. Well, not the same thing as you, but when I was younger, I was actually a cancer survivor. So I got leukemia from 4 to 8. So when I was in the hospital bed for weeks on end, all I did was watch Comedy Central, comedy movies, and I'm just like, this is, for some reason, I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And, it's insane. But then, so I started doing it when I was a teenager. But then this show here, the Comedy to Break the Stigma, this all started because in 5 years, I lost 3 people that I know to suicide, and one would just so happen to be my best friend. So my thing was they do say laughter is the best medicine, and I always was like, how can I use my gifts, but also to help other people? So I came up with this. I was like, Comedy to Break the Stigma. I was like, put on a comedy show. Everybody likes to laugh.
Hell yeah.
And then you could raise funds for certain mental health organizations. And my thing is, I always think about it because suffering from mental health issues, I'm always like, there's somebody in the crowd right now that was probably depressed today.
Oh yeah.
Or had a panic attack today, or just was in a horrible mindset. But for the 1 hour that they're on a comedy show, it's literally the only time that they're present and they're laughing, which they don't get often.
And if you say something to them that maybe it's a 30-second thing that they relate to, maybe things feel a little less overwhelming in life, you know? That's kind of, I mean, I would get home from high school and BET Comic View would be on, so I'd watch, my first, Bruce was the guy, when he was I was so excited to see Bruce. So my act is just like his.
Bruce is coming in today. So when did you actually pick up the mic, and where did you go? Was it a bar?
Helium, the mic,
Philly's Funniest or the mic?
No, just the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, Philly's Funniest didn't exist at the time.
You were there. Okay.
But I just, me and a couple buddies went down, did a 2-minute set.
2-minute set. I love it. It is funny, but it's Helium and Punchline, they'll have the open mic, and it's a 2-minute set. I'm like, what can I possibly say
Yeah,
in 2 minutes?
yeah. But that's all I needed. I didn't need one more second of stage time. And I don't really know how it went. It just felt so fun, and I was kind of hooked then. I was like probably 21,
Okay. So when I first started, I literally Googled like how to get into comedy, and the first thing that popped up was the Comedy Cabaret in Northeast Philadelphia.
Oh my God!
And I saw like Seinfeld went there, and like all these people. I'm like, this is it.
That place.
So have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I went at 17. I wasn't even supposed to be there because back then you had to be 18. So I literally went in, I signed my name, and then I went out in the parking lot with my dad before I went out. But they didn't even know. Like I didn't tell them my age. I just like signed
Blake
up.
Wexler had to do that too. Yeah.
And I just remember the guy before me bombed. Like really. And like everybody bombs, but he got aggressive where he started cursing the crowd off because like they weren't laughing.
Was he drunk?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But he was like trying to do a thing with like a ukulele, and he had like a wig on, so it probably wasn't going to work out for him anyway.
Aggressive ukulele guy is weird. That's a weird energy with a ukulele.
Yeah. And so I was like to my dad, I was so scared. I'm like, dude, I'm going up there talking about like poop jokes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. This
You
is
literally were in the lion's den right away. That's it.
It was horrible. And I just remember my dad said to me, he's like, you could do this right now and see if this is for you, or we can leave and nobody will even know that you were here. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I think I had like 3 minutes maybe. And, you know, I got like some laughs. I think at first they were pity laughs. But I did get like a laugh, like an actual genuine laugh. Once I got that, it kind of was like,
it's different. You can tell the difference.
Nice. But like I was so like, I wasn't used to the lights, like the light was right in my face. Like the first picture, my dad took a picture on his flip phone, and it's like blurry, and it's just me on stage, dude. It's
oh man, but I miss those times so much because it was like so like getting booked for your first 5 minutes, like at a bar show. You think you make it? You're like, I made it, man. Yeah. People are like giving me $10 to tell jokes. What the hell? This is easy. This is it. This is great. But yeah, that's why I started. And then I that was the best. Helium. A lot of guys I started with. Brian Fennell, who's a comic in Philly. Yeah. We started on the same night, so, and then we're like still buddies. So it's cool. It's cool. It's really fun.
It is cool because especially if you're in Philly, you really only have Helium and you have Punchline. Like those are the clubs.
Yep.
But it is cool because you can. It's kind of like a cool vibe down there because now it's to the point where you can go to Helium when you're not even performing.
Yeah,
but like
your
buddy's doing a show there, so you can just like shoot the shit with other comics and be like, yo, what's up, dude? Like,
it's great.
Great set, make those connections, and then just like, hey, man, you want to hop on my show? And then you're like, yeah, dude, I'm actually doing a show in 2 months. You want to go on this? So kind of like just snowballs.
And I'm so thankful for like a lot of the guys in that Philly scene. I like had a big mental block about Helium for a long time after I did it, like because it was like, man, this is like where it happened, like you know. And then when I moved, I was in New York for a while, and
did you do comedy in New York?
Yeah, okay. And I
definitely a tougher scene.
It was tough, and like
but more opportunity.
More opportunity. Like 15 mics You get up every night, but I'm not like a great networker. Like I think everybody hates me all the time.
Dude, you literally sound like me. Even to this point, like I still feel like, oh man, I don't know if I should ask them to do my show.
Yeah,
they
dude.
don't like me.
I think about it every time. It'll be people that like have to literally pull me aside and be like, we're friends, man.
Yeah.
I like you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be so like I'm just. I don't know. That's probably some kind of anxiety that I got.
That's how. Dude, literally, you sound exactly like me when I first like started doing comedy, or like even now, still. Yeah. Even now, like if I'm working a room and like, yeah, dude, I know you. We did a show before. You know, we follow each other on social media, but like he probably doesn't like me.
Or he thinks I suck.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
thinks
he
I'm a hack.
I'm his priority where he watches my reel. Like, this dude
sucks. He's not any good, dude. It'll even not even like I'll be like at a restaurant. And I'll like there'll be like people on a table like down there, and they'll be laughing. I'm like, it's probably laughing at me.
These assholes.
They're laughing at me. Yeah. Or they like think like I have something on me or something. It's like narcissism in a way. Yeah. Because like they're definitely not talking about me. Yeah. They don't even know I exist. But I'm just assuming that they're very aware of me. I'm the focus of their life, and they hate me for it.
Dude, that's so funny because I've been doing comedy for over 10 years, and I still feel the exact same way. And sometimes I just felt like in kind of like I was making myself an outcast.
Yeah, you were, and
because I was like, you know, I don't think that I fit in here at like Helium or whatever. So I was always a fan of like, and if you don't get booked, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these people are getting booked, I must suck.
Right.
And it's just like, I was always a fan of, if I'm not getting work, I make my own work. So like, even before this, dude, like, I used to rent out a church basement hall because I could have it for free. Yeah. And I would put on a show in front of like 40 people.
Yeah. That's how you got to do it. That's kind of the same way I did it.
And it kind of just snowballed where it works. Like, it's like, okay, so you're still working on a daily basis.
Right.
But
you're still getting up.
I still always felt like public enemy number one.
Oh, I always do. I
always do. Speak a little bit less of the funny. So you sound like you have some horrible anxiety like I do.
Yeah.
When did that start? And you said you're in therapy. Is there any other techniques that you have to kind of get through that?
You know, my therapist, to her credit, doesn't really dig into why I'm. Okay. We kind of just come up with future stuff and like outlook, like changing, and I think that's good because it doesn't. I'm not looking back on stuff, so I don't like. I never dug into like some of my where it all comes from.
Yeah.
I did have like a year span where I lost a bunch of people. Like my best friend died of cancer, my other friend died of suicide, and then my girlfriend died of cancer, and then my dad died. All within like, God. Like maybe
and
12 months.
And now I'm here reminding you that I survived cancer.
Yeah. No. I think it's best if you survive cancer.
That was a morbid joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer when everybody survives it.
That's always good.
But yeah, I think I would have like had some PTSD. But the thing is, you don't like, when you have loss like that, you have like trauma. A lot of times where you get hurt is like the ripple effect, where like how your loved ones around you treat you in those moments where, you know, I think my mom was like, she just lost her husband. So maybe there wasn't as much stuff going on, like maybe some love going, like, you know, she needed support too, you know, so kind of in those moments, like in the wake of the trauma, like the bad thing that happened, that's kind of where you can develop some, I guess, bad habits, like for your mind, you know.
I don't know if this happened to you, but like I said, like in 5 years, like I felt like every time I logged on to Facebook, somebody I graduated with either died of suicide or overdose, and then, like I said, you know, my best friend passed away from suicide, and it was weird. For the first time in my life, I had suicide ideation where like I thought, like I was so anxious and so stressed out that I thought that I was going to do it because everybody else was doing it. And that scared the living shit out of me.
Dude, that is scary. That's scary. After that time frame, it was so quick, and I was so like it was in like formidable years that like I kind of had like like death syndrome, where I was like, I think everybody that comes near me is gonna die. And then nothing happened for a while. And then recently, my best friend, like my bestest friend, killed himself. But it was like, the suicide itself was one thing, it's terrible, but he, like the month leading up to it was just white knuckling, like, and he was confiding in me, and you know, I didn't know when somebody confides in you with that level of like trust, it's hard to like betray it, you know, where like, and so I had like, you know, like nobody knew he was that bad, and I kind of did, and so what happened was there was a Saturday, he took a bunch of Xanax, and I found him, and then I called 911. He survived that, and we went to the ER. And like when we got to the ER, I'm like, dude, because he was going to a therapist too. He was getting help. So in my mind, I'm like, we're safe, we're cool, you know, we're clear. He's there. They're gonna be like, oh shit, this guy can't. He needs to get some help. They let him go that night. He's supposed to go in somewhere for a therapist appointment the next Monday, and he shot himself that Monday. So like I had like like all that stuff came back where like I'm feeling like immense guilt about it, you know, and dude, it kind of like undid everything. Like I was like not in a good, like very like where I started having the ideations too. Yeah. I'm like, well, maybe I'm gonna kill myself. Like maybe I'm gonna do it. And the thing is, it's like people. This is why I love what you're doing, and like I work on a little material about it. I try to like make it funny, which is hard to do. But like suicide, nobody wants to talk about it. Yeah. Like nobody wants to think about it. And I think you should. You
get the ooh.
Yeah, like, you should think about it.
You get the ick from
like,
it when you hear it.
Like talking, like don't think about, like don't do it. Don't kill yourself. Yeah. But if you have a thought of, like sit in it. Yeah. Like don't be scared of it, because like you work through that fear. Like if suicide is this big monster in the corner of the room all the time. Yeah. You know, and you never want to confront it. What happens when you have to? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like or like. Again, I talk to people, like, nobody wants to admit they ever thought about killing themselves. Nobody ever wants to say, oh, I did. Like I'll talk to my mom or something, or my brother, or like, you know, people that aren't as maybe like thinking about their mental health as much, and they'll never admit that they will do it, but they probably did. Yeah. People like, I don't, you probably know the stats more than me. What's the stat on, like, I bet you 80% of people try to.
Second, the actual
at least thought about it.
Insane. And the actual, that's the second leading cost in the United
States. So that's crazy. Like, how are we gonna, like, there's gonna be 300 people in this room, and like it's a little different night. We're not gonna talk about suicide here, but like, and they might be a little more. But if a normal group of 300 people, how many of those people would admit that they did?
I wrote about this in my book, and that's kind of reason why I wrote my book is because I was kind of like you. So my best friend, like I knew that he suffered, so like he would be down for like a little bit, but then he would always bounce back. But like he never said anything about hurting himself or doing anything like that. But I knew he had manic depression, and I knew sometimes he just had to like chill out. Like he had to like, yo man, I'm gonna hibernate. I'm good. And I was just so devastated because I live 10 minutes away from him, and I always tell him, I'm like, dude, if you ever have any feelings or anything, please just let me know and I'll drive over. And he didn't text
but even me. If you, so this is what sucks, like, because my friend did kind of confide in me, and the reason why I say that was like the most wild month is because like my stress level was so high because I have no schooling, no education on what to do, right? So, you know, and I would imagine a lot of times people that kill themselves or think about killing themselves, they confide in somebody close to them, which is great, and they should, but like most people don't have the tools to direct somebody in the right way or what to tell them. Because I remember thinking like, what do I tell him to do? Yeah. Like, do I tell him to go to the therapist? What do I tell him to do?
Because the wrong rebuttal.
Yeah, or right. So we're sitting in the hospital, and the nurse is like, "Did you try to kill yourself?" And he was like, "No, I just tried to rest." In my head, I'm like, "You told me you know," but I didn't want to out him, right? Because then, what if he doesn't trust me ever again? Yeah. You know, like, so you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Yeah. And if I had some like, if there was some like routine education about it on this stuff, like what the Avidum does, if that was, you know, it's around like when, like the DARE program, it's like the DARE program for, you know, give people like a baseline level of knowledge on how to deal with stuff if it comes up, because a lot of people don't know what to do.
And the thing is nowadays too is like when people ask me about it, I'm like, if the therapy is like scary for you and you don't want to talk to somebody in person, with today's generation, you have like the BetterHelp app where you can literally talk to somebody, or you could FaceTime somebody. And it's like, there's so much extra help where like if you're uncomfortable in a situation where to actually be in person and talk about it. But it's just, I'm glad that there's organizations like Avidum that have that outlet for people.
For sure, because like, you know, and like he was like a blue collar, you know, conservative guy, didn't want to admit that anything was like wrong with him, and that probably didn't help. So, you know, because like you don't want, like, because there's still the stigma of like, oh, that means I'm fucked up. It's like, well, your neighbor probably thought about it.
Exactly.
You're fucking, everybody's thought about it. So, but by denying that we think about it, that makes my friend Ryan think he's on an island by himself.
Which you're not.
And
then if you're open about it, you realize how much of an island where there's so many resorts with different people
Yeah,
who are dealing with
exactly. And then, I mean, I think everything's going in the right direction, but, you know, the fact that we're even doing this means it's not, like, perfect, so.
But all we can do is just our little part.
Yeah.
We're just going to get into the second and last segment. We're going to wrap this up because it's almost showtime.
Showtime.
Baby. So this is 5 questions.
Cool.
Question number 1. How has comedy brought purpose to your life?
Comedy has brought purpose to my life. I love it. I love doing it. I probably can't ever stop doing it, no matter what. So, you know, when I always think about this when I lived in New York. I would leave my job, get on the train to go do shitty open mic spots, and I was so excited. And I would see these guys on the train in suits making more money than I'll ever make in my life, and they're just going home. Right? Their day's over, and I'm like, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
They don't get to, what are they?
That perfect saying, work the 9 to 5, but don't ever give up. After you work your 9 to 5, work your 5 to 9 and do what you want to do.
It's just, but even like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What's, like, they don't have a thing like that they're gonna fail at tonight. Yeah, like that gets your juices going a little bit. And maybe they do, I'm judging their life, but you know, it's like they're gonna go home, they're gonna watch their show, eat their dinner, and go to bed. I wanna write the show that they're watching. You know, I wanna, or try to anyway. So that's the purpose. Like, not the, and the relationships that you make. You know, yeah.
All right. Well, question number 2. When did you first become self-aware of your anxiety?
My family, my parents did a really good job of, you know, getting me to see professionals. So I kind of always knew. I was diagnosed with ADHD and stuff, but to be actually self-aware is a little different thing because you know
to be self-aware and then actually being able to go
to notice it. Yeah,
that brings you a long way.
I'm still working on that. I think, you know, I'm still like figuring out with the intricacies of and the nuances of what how my brain works.
There's literally no secret pill right now that could help it. It's always going to be there with you, but if you can manage it, that goes a long way. And it seems like your parents were really good at
they were great.
Number 3, do you find irony in performing with your anxiety?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure you go through this, like.
They shouldn't be doing this.
No. Well, every time I do a show, I'm like, why are people even, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
Why, like, I'm an idiot. What are they going to listen to me for? And, you know, I've had, like, relationships in my life, like, significant others, like, it affects that because, like, I'll do the show and afterwards you're mingling and everything, and that kind of takes a lot out of me, you know, like, I don't, and so then, and then you get in the car with them, and you're just like this, and they're like, you can talk to 10 people that you've never met before, smiling, laughing, having a good time, but then you get in the car with the person that you love, and you're a miserable, depressed, mopey person, and I'm like, because I'm like drained. So like that's the irony. It's like in my personal life, I want to just be like this. You know?
I felt like that during WrestleMania weekend. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life, but I actually got to do a show with the Nemeth brothers, who they both were in WWE, and I was like fangirl, and I got this opportunity to work with them. But like that whole week, I was doing shows all week. All week I was doing shows, and then it's like, then the high goes down, and you're like, well, I was just doing this, and it was amazing, and now like I'm sitting here, and but the adrenaline is just nowhere.
I think it's important to like not take the highs too high, not take the lows too low. You know, I think that's probably
All right, well, number 4, how do you cope with anxiety on and off stage? So, like, do you get nervous before you go on stage, and then does it go away when you're on stage? Because me, I get butterflies the entire time until I'm on stage, and it literally all goes away.
Yeah, I'll pace. I'll walk around and
go over your set that you did 8 million times in your head, thinking that you're gonna mess it up.
What I've been trying to do though is, what's been working is, I'll think about my set like 5 hours before, and then put it away.
Okay.
Like right before, I've noticed when I'm right before the show thinking about it, I'm too much into that
You
and not
overwork it too
I
much,
overwork
where
it.
you
Yeah,
psych yourself out
exactly.
and say,
Yeah,
I've done that a million times.
Yeah, yep.
And when like I started doing comedy, it was like I felt like an actor. I wrote a script and I stuck to the script.
Yeah.
But then as you get more experience, you realize, oh, I could mess around with.
You got to
this
be
and
in the
have
moment.
fun.
Be in the moment as much as you can. Yeah.
All right, and then last and final question: worst show and experience on stage that you ever had?
I mean, bombing is one thing. Yeah, because bombs don't really bother me anymore. Like unless somebody's there, but I'll never forget the friend that killed himself. He came to my show. He was like your friend. He was like my biggest supporter, and I was seeing this girl at the time, new relationship, and I hadn't met her parents yet, and I'm doing the show. She's like, where's the show at? And I'm like, I think it's in New Jersey somewhere. My friend Ryan was coming with me, but it wasn't. It was like around here,
Okay.
So, but I didn't think anything of it. So it's like this country club, golf country club, and I go up and I kind of eat shit, and I'm doing new stuff, talking about this relationship that I'm in, like Plan B pills, bombing. And so I get off stage and my friend's laughing Ryan's laughing. I'm like, what? He goes, check your phone. So my phone, the girl I was seeing at the time was like, hey, my parents are at your show, but I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
So they saw their first experience seeing me as a human being was that bomb saying wild stuff about their daughter in front of their family friends. So like that was like the most anxiety I've had, because then I got to meet him after. I'm like, hey, just kidding. Usually goes better than this. But
I have this bit too, but it's funny. I've been married now and been with my wife for a while, and we want to have kids. And I have this bit. I'll probably do it tonight. It's about like taking a fertility sample, and I do it. And when I was at the media theater, her parents were in the front row when I was doing this, which they love comedy.
Yeah,
so
right.
They thought it was hilarious, but. My friends came up to me after the show. They're like, "How big do your balls?"
Yeah, right.
That
Jesus.
on stage in front of them.
Exactly.
Like, I'm married, so.
But I mean, that does. You made a choice. That's a big balls choice. I wouldn't have made that choice at all had I known. And it was just like the word, like, oh my God, there couldn't have been a worse time for you guys to see me.
Oh, yeah.
But they were great about it. I mean, they're
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I always just ask, if there might be someone watching who wants to get into comedy, what's your advice that you give to someone who's like, you know what, I've been writing for a while, or I've been thinking about it for a while. What steps should I take to do this?
Just get up, find an open mic, and I wouldn't like. It's weird to say, and the advice that I got is like, for the first 5 minutes you write, if you keep doing this, you're not going to do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So don't worry about how good it is, what you're saying. Go do it, have fun. Your first set's going to go great, and then it's going to be a tough climb from there. But just get up. Just get up. It'll be fun. I talk people into. I love talking people into. I love seeing people do stand up for the first time.
Me
it's
too.
the best thing.
That's how, I'm like everybody's biggest fan. Like I want you to have the best performance. I want you to get booked all over the place. Like, I don't have any hate or animosity towards anybody. It's already a crazy game to try to get into. And just like do it, man. And I wish you the most success.
Because dude, laughter, it's not a finite resource either.
Yeah.
Like there's not like it's not like coal where there's a limited amount of it.
Yeah.
There's enough. Like there's laughter. You make people laugh. It's not like if you see somebody on Tuesday, they're like, I laughed too much on Monday, I can't laugh at you today. If it's funny, they're gonna laugh at it. So just go do it, man, and like have fun with it. Don't take yourself too serious, and look at it as like a fun hobby. I think I look at it too much like a job too often.
I do too.
And I try my hardest to get out of that mindset because you never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
And you should have more fun.
That is great advice. Well, everybody, we got to wrap this bad boy up. We're about to take on...
You should have been here. You should have been here.
You're watching this on YouTube a couple weeks later, but we're about to take on the Civic Theatre here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Tyler, where can everybody see you and follow you on your socials?
At Tyler Rothrock on everything. And just Instagram, Twitter,
and buy
Facebook.
his stickers.
Stickers, yeah.
We have a long time. We both went to community college for way too long, like 6 years.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, if you're gonna do comedy, go to community college for a long time, and then
that should have been the advice.
We'll edit that in. Perfect.
Tyler, thank you so much.
Dude, thank you, man. Awesome. This is awesome.
And we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Guys, like, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Dude, that was awesome.
Dude. Thanks so much for being that open.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I was like,
I made a promise to myself and never make another excuse. And if you get up in my way of what I wanna do, then I'm cutting you loose. Like, I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I'm smoking on a balcony. My plug is on.